Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and I hope you are fine as you watch this video. Ladies and gentlemen, Rigathi Gachagua has been talking about a killer squad. Rigathi Gachagua has been calling the international community to intervene in what is happening in the country. Rigathi Gachagua has been crying, actually appealing and pleading with the international community to come and save our great republic. Ladies and gentlemen, before I give a critical analysis about what Rigathi Gachagua has been saying, I want you to listen very, very carefully to what Rigathi Gachagua is saying. What he is saying is of grave concern to the international community. What he is saying is scary. What he is saying is chilling. What he is saying needs actually international community to intervene. Before I continue, kindly watch Rigathi Gachagua here.
This issue of Albert Ojwang is just a tip of the iceberg. Hundreds of young people have been tortured to death by a special squad of 101 officers that was set up on the instructions of William Ruto and seconded to Nis and Anuddin Haji and trained highly on abductions, torture and killings and cover-up. Hii tu ni vile tu imeponyoka hii ya Ojwang. Wengi sana wamekufa. And William Ruto cannot run away from these deaths. He is responsible. And Kenyans will punish him for that. That case of Ojwang there is a cover-up. Aipoa, hao watu, Ruto ndiye ameweka hapo. IG ni mtu yake. DIG ni mtu yake. DCI ni mtu yake. Hata DCI alienda bunge. Akadanganya bunge ya kwamba ati alipelekwa akiwa uhai, akakufa akiwa mikononi mwa daktari. CCTV imeonyesha alifika amekufa. Akaketi hapo 24 minutes wakingoja tu because he is already dead. So that DCI must be prosecuted. That DIG must be prosecuted. And this is just a tip of the iceberg. And we are appealing to the international community to step in Kenya. The level of impunity by William Ruto, he has compromised all oversight bodies. The opposition has been swallowed in Raila. Parliament is compromised, with except to a few leaders there. So international community must come in through for the people of Kenya to tell William Ruto, no, this is impunity, it's unacceptable, you cannot continue.
Ladies and gentlemen, in your own opinion, should the international community intervene in what is happening in the country? I remember America embassy when Albert Ojwang was murdered by the police, when he lost his life. What happened is American embassy demanded answers from Kenyan government. So the big question is Gachagua doing the right thing? Or should the international community intervene in our country? According to me, time has come for the international community to intervene in what is happening in Kenya. Time has come for the powers in the international community, the US, American, the UK, France, Belgium. Time has come for this country to intervene in what is happening in our country. And why should the international community intervene? I have a number of reasons. Number one, in Kenya, the president cannot be taken to court. He can't, over doing or not doing anything. He can't. In fact, the president is above the law. And that is why I think the constitution needs to be amended. He need to amend the constitution. And because the president is the accounting officer, because the buck stops in with William Samoei Ruto, I think the international community needs to call him to order. The United Nations needs to come and find out what is happening in Kenya, because the president cannot be taken to court. Number two, in my view, the situation is running out of hand. It is getting out of hand. We have seen so many youth being abducted and killed. We have seen what happened in 2025 last year, 25th last year, June, when hundreds of Gen Zs were murdered, shot by trigger-happy policemen. And the situation has continued. In fact, what is happening in Kenya is crime against humanity. That is why ICC needs to send its prosecutors to come and investigate what is happening in the country. That is why international community, United Nations, need to send human rights organizations to come and record what is happening in the country. And this is one way of intervening and stopping what is happening in the country. Actually, the situation is getting out of hand. Number two, in my view, William Samoei Ruto has managed to compromise all the institutions. The institutions that should be actually protecting Kenyans against the executive. For example, Parliament is supposed to oversight the executive. But look at Parliament. What is it doing? Parliament is in bed with the executive. Parliament is completely handpicked by the executive. So when you look at our institutions, including the judiciary, they are no longer independent. They keep on looking over their shoulders on what is happening. Anytime they do something that does not please the executive moves very fast and withdraw their security, and they are left very, very vulnerable. Money changes hands in Parliament, and therefore, because these parliamentarians are very greedy, they cannot actually oversight the executive. That is why the international community need to come and fill the gap. The other reason is because of 2027 general elections. When I look at the 2027 general elections, if the trend continues, many people are going to lose their lives. Anybody who is going to oppose the government, because you realize that it is those people who are opposing the government who are actually losing their lives. That is why you see many people do not want to give a contrary opinion, even when the opinion is constructive, even when the criticism is constructive. Because we have not seen people who are supporting the government being kidnapped. It is only those who are opposing the government. And in a democracy, there must be opposition. In a democracy, there must be a contrary opinion. People don't have to think the same way. People don't have to do what you are doing. People don't have to agree with you. And therefore, because 2027 general election is so near, it is only good, it's only fair for the international community to step in, even if it means coming in and actually being involved in our elections. Because the way the country is moving, we are not heading in the right direction. We are not headed in the right direction. The other thing is because when I look at our country, our country by the position, the way its position, the gateway to the east, the gateway to the surrounded by landlocked countries. If Kenya goes wrong, if we lose our country, many countries will follow suit. I tell you, if Kenya is on fire, Tanzania will be on fire. Somalia will burn. Uganda will burn. DRC will burn. Rwanda will burn. Burundi will burn. Because you see, Kenya ndio watu wanaangalia. The one thing I like about our country, our people are very resilient. But our leaders, they are just there to see that our country falls apart. So it is only fair that the international community intervene and actually restore sanity in our great republic. That's my take, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what to think, but from where I sit, I think Gachagua has a valid point. Bye-bye.